Good evening, absolutely good evening to everyone. Welcome back to a Thursday night show, first in a while. It's exhausting, guys. It's exhausting. Looking after my mum, doing just general stuff. I'm doing all the social media. I hate it. I really do. I can't stand it. But anyway, welcome. It's nearly 6 years, guys. It's nearly 6 years since we had the Manchester Evening News Arena bombing. Salman Abedi, one of 4 or 5 kids, blew up the evening. Timmy blew up the Manchester. Blew up the bomb up in the foyer of the Ariana Grande concert, Manchester Arena. And within a day, within hours of him doing that, all his information was out there. Look, let me just give you a bit of a rundown of the history of his family. Well, they was from Syria. His mum and dad were from Syria. His mum and dad were highlighted to the US in having contact or some kind of contact with legitimate extremist groups. This is his mum and dad. And this is the same as all the other wars that we have. We go in and help people fight the wars, but the people we're helping are just extremists of people they want out. And it's an everlasting circle. Obviously, I did not support any action in Syria. I never supported action in Iraq. The last war that I fully put myself behind was the Falklands. But obviously, Iraq, false war. Syria, another false made-up war. They only got rid of Gaddafi because he was doing good things in his section of North Africa, and he held all the immigrants back. But the Eastern European powers and the left, they want them all coming over. They want all these borders open. They want a borderless world. And so it weren't hard for lobbying groups to lobby the government and stuff like that to go to war and to take them out. But, so I was living in Mosley at the time, 2017. And I was working shifts, and I was on the evening shift when it came over the radio about the Manchester Evening, about the bombing. Whatever time it was in the evening, I was at work. I finished at 10 and got the bus to Oldham instead of going home, and got the bus all the way to Manchester and tried to get towards where the arena was. So that was a good few hours after the bombing, and there was still lots of activity going on. Now, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Babs. Yes, Roch. I know, Mr. Rick. Yes, Roch. Don't forget, mate. You're running as a candidate, you. And within hours, all this information come out about his family. It come out that he'd been rescued from Syria by the Royal Navy when he was training to be an extremist. His parents' links to extremist groups. And this happens in the UK. We get all these people in, and they're linked to extremist groups and stuff like that. And I'm sorry to say this, but all these people who've got British nationals who helped us in Iraq and all that, these people are as extreme as the people they want to kick out. People just don't get it. Yeah, there is interpreters, but they're all extreme as well, and they're no different than the people that they want out of the country. And this like this in all the Islamic countries, unfortunately. Now, I didn't support any kind of war in Iraq, and I never supported any kind of thing in Syria. And I hate it when people here say, well, you went bombing this. I never went bombing it. A little tiny small percentage of our government were the ones who decided that, and it wasn't me. I protested against the Iraq war and against any conflict in Syria. I venomously protested. So did lots of other people. As a National Housing Party, we won't be getting involved in any war. Let me tell you this. Right, I will do, Arlene. We don't support any war. We don't support Ukraine. We don't support any kind of war in any country. The only time we're going to use our defence is to support our mainland, and that's it. So we don't support any war, and I've never have done since Falklands. And the MI5, the failures of our system is unbelievable. His parents are still living in Libya. His dad did get arrested and his brother got arrested. And they've just done a big trial, a big inquest into it all. And you know, you get loads of people blaming the emergency services didn't turn up good enough. It's nothing to do with any of them emergency services. The only thing it's to do with is the Conservatives letting them in the country in the first place when we knew how extreme these people are. And we already know that they let other extremists in and no one says anything. No one does anything. So the Libyan bomber, his friends put warnings out. His own community put warnings out. He went to Disbury Mosque where there's been several incidents before he blew up the arena and after of hate preachers at Disbury Mosque. And Manchester Council doesn't do nothing. They don't do nothing. And in the area around Disbury Mosque, there's been roughly 15 to 20 people convicted for terrorism offences around that mosque. And I bet a lot of people don't know that. Around that mosque, between 15 and 20. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's between 15 and 20 people at least have been convicted of plotting and things to do with terrorism around that mosque area. The mosque is still open, ladies and gentlemen. It should be shut down. No one's ever called for it to be shut down. No one ever says anything. And there's been many incidents since. Let me just get some incidents up. Hate preacher Abu Qatada spoke at Manchester Mosque. There's been some investigations. Manchester Mosque sermon called for armed jihad, said scholars. This goes on all. No one says anything. No one does anything. And yet, in 20 years, we've had roughly about 80 Islamic attacks compared to one so-called right-wing attack. So, obviously, I know where we're under threat mostly of. Now, I mean, there was two girls from Oldham. Who were killed in that explosion. Now, they weren't my personal best friends, but I knew of them. I'd seen these two before a couple of times. But they were friends. They were best friends with many friends of mine, these two girls. And on the day of when Tommy Robinson came up, 2017, and we did a march, Amory Waters, there was a few people there in Manchester. A lot of people will remember that. One of them girls, fellas, came up. And what I got told off him, around the time or a bit after, it come through someone else, and another person had said this to do with people to do. When the bomb went off, first thing the police were saying to the victims and the victims' families and stuff like that. Oh, don't be protesting over Islam. Don't make it anything to do with Islam. Don't make this. Honestly, this is truth. You don't see this in any paper. It's not in any paper. This not in any paper. Instantly, all them families were pressured not to start going on about Islam. Not start going on about Islam. More at the time when this did come out, I was with GETTR, and I told her the information. I told her it come off, and she put it out on her channel. But that's the first thing that the police was saying to the families and the victims is, don't start going on about Islam. Don't start posting things about Islam and stuff like that. That's what they were saying to the victims and families. When it is all to do with Islam, Odysee Mosque, Salman Abedi himself, his parents being extremists and letting him into this country. So in the chat, we've got Observer Dude, Alistair, and he was there end of September. Yeah, it was the end of September, the last day of September, and it was a Conservative conference in Manchester. And Alistair, young Alistair in the chat there, met me and Tom for the first time there. And he did a little interview with me and followed me around when other people were talking to me. So I turned up with Tom, Tory conference in Manchester. I turned up with Tom on the Sunday, and I'd only met Tom the week before. I brought down a piece of cardboard I got from work, and I marked in black marker on it. I marked about 8 preachers, and one of the slogans I said on it: West Indian Windrush, West Indians out, jihadis in. And I said things like, say no to hate preachers, say no to female genital mutilation, FGM, and stuff like that. And we walked around, and there were 50,000 protesters that day. Alistair met me. Yeah, you were on the Sunday, didn't you? Yeah, some believe that a false flag. Right, so it's a false flag. So were them 2 girls gone? And I know one of their husbands. So were them 2 girls gone? Have they just like been paid off and gone? It's not a false flag. Not with 22 people who've gone missing. And do you think that the government could pay all their families off and everything? I doubt it very much. It's rubbish, that. It's just people trying to deflect from the thing that we had an Islamic attack. And if you, I mean, people say that all Islamic attacks are red flags. They're not all red flags. They're not all red flags. People say this and people do this to distract you from the truth. I blame the Tories, me. That's who I blame, because this family come in while the Tories were in power. They knew how extreme they were. They let them come here. The family were living in Libya, claiming over £200,000 in benefits, while the son's planning the last bit of the attack to blow people up. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. There's nothing to do with the emergency services, nothing to do with how fast people acted on this. The thing is, we shouldn't have had these people in the country in the first place, and I've always said that. So I went round with Tom on the Sunday, Tom English, got loads of abuse off people. The Antifa were lying to police. Police sergeant come over to us, said, right, you've been causing trouble throwing things. And there was a blue top copper next to us. He went, how long ago were this? These lads just said 10 minutes ago. I said, how can it be? I've been walking around with them for 30 minutes and they haven't done nothing. They've been stood right next to me. They tried lying about us like that and stuff like that. We walked round the corner near St. Peter's Square, and I'm not joking, one side to the other full of lefties. There must have been about 3,000, and me and Tom are on our own. We're spat at. They're trying to grab our phones. We're being pushed. And we just didn't back down. I had hold of me banner still. I wouldn't let go of it. And you know how the other lefties dribbling out the mouth. That's what they were like. And we stood our ground. You know what I mean? One guy got head to head to me, and I said, "Yeah, mate, you won't do this for 2,000 people here." because I'd take you around that corner and I'd beat you to a black and blue, and you wouldn't last or anything. You know how they do, all dribbling and spit going everywhere. Tom's phone got knocked at ground, and then they tried grabbing mine, which Tom had. Just nasty lefties. So that was a Sunday. So on the Tuesday, I booked a day off work and went down again. And at 4 p.m, the lefties were protesting in St. Peter's Square. So I got down about 11. I bought a megaphone, bought some batteries, had my dinner, had something to eat. Freezing cold, St. Peter's Square, 4 o'clock started, and I started. So first of all, started at the Conservatives in St. Peter's Square. I've all showed everyone where it is, where the monument is, just around that area. I started on the Conservatives, and the lefties must have thought I was a lefty, you know, because I were brown and that. And then I turned around and started on the lefties. That was really funny. I walked up to him and I started shouting and they were all shocked. They were all like that, you know, because I'm a bit brown and I've been going on to Conservatives. I started on the lefties, and then within 15 minutes, there was about 500 people around me. And at that time, I wasn't. At that time, it was, if you come in my space, I'm going to hit you. That's what it was. I never had no control over that. And there were people there. And what I was doing, I was putting my hand out and say, don't come past my hand, or I'm going to hit you. I'm going to push you over because you're coming into my space. Some black guy tried it and I pushed him, fell on floor. And then a guy who was in a wheelchair got out of his wheelchair and went, listen, give me that megaphone and walk away. No, I won't walk away. You talking to? Give me that megaphone. What he thought he could have, like, you know, super like mind control over me. So I got my hand up. This copper come over and he went, that cunt. And I swore everything I said about him was derogatory. And I said, he said he's got a broken back and he stood up. Not on his fingers, so like, and he's threatening me, and the copper's looking round like that, and I think he's threatening me, mate, because of the colour of my skin. Oh my God, the copper didn't know how to react to it or anything. I was left in that square when I shouldn't have been. If it would have been a white person, that'd have been, you know, you'd have gone. I stayed in that square, I confronted loads of people, black, white, pink, yellow, brown. Didn't take me stance, and I did 45 minutes, and then I turned around, swore at the Conservatives, stuck my fingers up at them, stuck my fingers up at the lefties, and walked off. And I've never looked back, guys. I've never looked back. I had 2 Conservatives. I don't know who they were. They must have been important people. They might have been. But when they come out, I was going on about immigration, and they're screwing their faces up. And I pointed the megaphone at them. What are you screwing your face up? It's you who killed 22 people. You murdered them. Like that. And I'll tell you what, their heads were down like that, and they didn't look up again while they was walking past St. Peter's Precinct. And that's how I was with everybody on that day. I kept in contact with an old guy who come up to me on that day. Halfway through speaking, he's pushed his way past everyone. He's come up to me and he says, I've never seen anybody as brave as you. I've never seen anybody as mad as you. I've never seen anybody as passionate as you. And he was an old guy, and he was something to do with it. He was an old Labour rep, but he turned to UKIP. And I did keep in contact with him. I might have his contact details somewhere for over a year afterwards, and he gave me a lot of respect. And he since then, that guy has been just absolutely respectful to me. But it was a wake-up call for a lot of people, the Manchester Evening News arena bombing. If you live in Manchester, especially. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's all right. And at the time, you seen Red Pill Phil come out. He did a bit of a speech with someone on UK Against Hate. It was that March. Obviously, anyone who talked about said anything about Islam was just branded with politically correct words. So going forward, I did my first Britain First protest outside Disbury Mosque. I've been to one of the other ones, but I was a person in this protest. And I did a couple of live streams, Tom and Kim with me, and we did against Disbury Mosque. And I've always been shouting against Disbury Mosque, but nobody does nothing because Manchester is politically correct. Mainly white people who are too afraid to upset minority communities. I'd have Disbury Mosque shut down, me. I'd have it shut down, and I would consider the building or whatever it is, I would consider it tainted because it's had evil preaching in it. So I'm afraid I would want to take that building down, no matter how old it is, no matter how priceless, whatever. I'd want to take that building down because I believe it's tainted with evil. It's tainted with evil. And again, in that area, what we know in that area has been a lot of people arrested and convicted of terrorism charges because of that mosque, and it's still open. The same with Finsbury Park Mosque, still open, and all these hate preachers go there and no one says anything. Well, the National Housing Party, I will be lobbying to shut down these mosques. Any mosque like this, any schools found to have female genital mutilation, chop shops underneath, all them will be shut down. Funding will be took for the Islamic community as well. Islamic schools, something's got to be done about them. I'd rather them shut down and all kids go into one school. And you either have a Christian school or a mixed faith school or whatever. But that's what I would be doing. And, you know, you can do that in all other countries. You can do that in other countries. Saudi Arabia don't allow Pakistanis to live there. They don't allow them to move there and permanent residency because they know how psychotic they are. There's lots of other countries in the world as well that don't allow people in. So, you know, we're a sovereign country. We cannot allow people in. We don't have to have open borders like everyone else. Honestly, when people go on about open borders, mention Saudi Arabia, Japan, and Qatar, Kuwait. There's lots of countries in the Middle East that you can't get in, guys. You're not allowed to live there. And even if you're Muslim, you're not allowed to live there. But England has to have everybody in this dog can live in England. Nah. Repatriate. But how do you know these hate preachers who sport weren't actors? Let's find the first one. The first one is the Imam Mustad Graf. There was an investigation into someone who said a sermon, and he said he did not call for armed jihad, but the police couldn't investigate. We had to let the mosque do their own investigation. And hate preachers come in all shapes and sizes. Let me just don't. I get what you're saying, Observer Dude, but no. Hate preachers are here all the time, mate. All the time in all different places. And I'll show you one. I'll just get one more up for you. No place in Oldham unless it's hate preachers. In July, Oldham's Mayor Shabib Kumar and Manchester MEP Al Fazl Khan, can't stand the guy, attended an anti-terrorism event in Oldham with guest of honour Pakistani extremists Mohammed Naqib and Rahman Hassan, both of whom led a campaign supporting Mumtaz Quadri's right to commit religious-motivated murder. So a prominent Bangladeshi member of parliament on the Bangladesh side, Pakistan side, were murdered, and they supported the murder's right to murder him. And these guys were over here preaching, no, Alistair, they're not actors. They're not actors. They are actual 8 people. I can show you the article to do with them 8 preachers, but they've been to Oldham twice. And I know it's them. They're not actors. They're not actors. They're not actors. So that happens in Oldham. It's happened in Manchester. They're not actors. They're not actors, mate. Don't say that. They're not actors. Uki and all them, they're not actors. These are real people who hold real extreme views, and we're allowing them just to come into the UK. But yeah, it was just so sad, you know. Safi Rose, 8-year-old. So I've been to a lot of the monuments to do with Manchester Arena bombing victims around Greater Manchester. Oldham Royton's a little memorial for Lisa and Jane. Then there's a little thing for Safi somewhere. Then there's a guy in Bolton. I think that's top there, 3rd one across. So we've been to Bolton, done a little thing outside his little plaque. But yeah, so the failures were in our government in letting these people in the first place. Nothing to do with the emergency services, nothing to do with the police. It's to do with our Conservative government letting these people in. And this is why I will never vote or support the Tories ever again, because the Tories, the Tory party, the Tories, all the members of Parliament who were around, whoever was a member of Parliament back in the day, Labour, Tory, you're all to blame for these 22 deaths. Not even Salman Abedi's to blame for it. It's them people through letting these people in the first place. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to blow anyone up. It wouldn't have been able to blow anyone up, but we just let them in. Let them in. Bobby Crusty weren't all actors, right? And are you saying that all them victims are still alive somewhere? Because that's what who does the video? Just let me. Oh, I feel like throwing up every time I do something on YouTube, right? Joe Cox, Kim Lee Beater comes up. Makes me sick. It really does. Makes me sick. Oh. I'll see if someone else has put it in the chat. Right, so I'm trying to find the guy's videos to do with the Manchester Arena bombing and Joe Cox murder. I just fucking. This is the Lip TV. The headline they've got is MP Joe Cox murdered by Britain First supporter before Brexit vote. Oh, fucking. If I had the power, I just want to press a button so that Lip TV just blows up and everybody in it just melts away. There's nothing to do with Britain First. The guy wasn't even far right. The guy who stabbed her said, "Put Britain first." That's what he said.
And how do I know that? Because a Muslim shopkeeper said it. Right? That's why. And I'd rather have that Muslim shopkeeper the day after statement saying that than any fucking white lefty, any scumbag who thinks it was anything to do with the far right. Also, Tommy Kerm, who's supposed to have murdered her, his family weren't allowed to go to the court case because that was an actor. Also, 3 schoolgirls reported a guy in the church just a bit further up the road with a pair of binoculars looking at that direction. Nothing ever said about it. But that, the girls came forward the following night and it was on main news that. So that's another thing. Also, to do with that case, Tommy Murr, also, he'd been sent books that were like right-wing books, but he'd been sending them back. He had been sending them back. And when they finally arrested him, they knew he had a knife and a gun. And the gun officers were just stood at the side, just stood at the side. They weren't pointing guns over him. They left the 2 normal policemen to deal with him. So Richard, whatever he is, who does the video, what he did, he got expert advice off an ex-armed copper, and the armed copper said, if they know someone's got a knife or a gun, the barrel of that gun will be in that guy's face until they know that there's no gun or weapon. None of that. And also, the body was sent to London before, and the coroner didn't even sign it. Honestly, there's so much in that case that's false. And I've always, no one's ever said nothing to me. And you know what, guys? I've been up there. I followed the path. I went into the back garden where he's supposed to have stashed his stuff. And I talked to people there, so I know. You know what I mean? And in the crime scene, you've got those who are right next to the crime. And then for so many meters away, when you get people, there's certain people who are in the best view to see everything. And there was one woman who was in the best view, seen everything happen, never even got interviewed. And they were interviewing people who weren't even at the place, guys. So that's a dodgy thing. But they let Salman Abedi into this country. His parents were already extreme, and he blew 22 people up. And it's a Conservatives' fault. It's not, and the government at the time. That's who it is. That's why That's why I'm such an avid activist. I'm just never going to accept that this is the kind of world we live in. And the next question time I get to, I think the main question's got to be to Andy Burnham: why isn't Disbury Mosque been shut down? That's what I've got to ask him. That's a big one. Anyway, we'll slow down a little bit. Obviously, we just had a run of successful 3 candidates standing in elections, all fairly good amount of votes with each one. I did thank everyone. Pat's done a video thanking everyone, but I thank everyone who supported. Mark Williams, big respect to you, pal. Big respect. Everyone else who supported us, Arlene, everyone in the chat. But we still want to go forward. At the moment, I'm needing some ink for printing off postal vote application forms. During this election, an area where I get a lot of votes, it had been hit by the so-called COVID. And a lot of the people who vote for me were absolutely devastatedly ill. And they just couldn't get out, they couldn't go nowhere. So I know people didn't vote. If they would have had postal votes, they'd have been able to vote. But you can apply for a postal vote. Just need to fill the form in, send it into council, then they'll mail you a letter saying that you've been on the postal voting thing. So you don't need any ID. You mail you a letter. Then after that, you mail when you get a thing. So anyone can do this. Anybody. Anywhere in the country. Anywhere. So more so if you're in Oldham, you want a postal vote form filling out, let me know. message me on Facebook or ring me on my number. We'll meet up somewhere. It takes 2 minutes to fill in, and then I'll hand up the sheets in, and then you'll end up getting your postal vote. But I need some ink, guys. I need some HP 304 ink. HP 304 ink. That's what I need. Let me just get the website address up. There's a great article on the website about Africa. And it's just really, I'd read it out, but it just takes too long. But it's really a good article. I well like that article. One of my favourite ones that I've seen on the site so far. So HP 304 ink. There's our website. You can donate on the website. There's a donate button. You can donate through your card as well as PayPal. But just keep it up, guys. We're doing well. We're building slowly. We're in grind now. I'm looking at definitely getting a seat in the next couple of years in Hollingwood, in the council. As soon as I've got a seat, then we're going to try and get other people to stand up in Oldham to run for seats. And I mean, you know, we do have, I've been on it for a year, and I feel that some people have just been pushing in and trying to take over, because there were no one running last May except for me. And so and I'm not moving out of Hollingwood. I'm staying in that area. I've got a good core area of votes and people I know, and I know I can get good votes. I'm passionate. I'm a public speaker. I've got a lot more going for me than most other candidates, to tell you the truth, most other independents, because I'm already out there, mate. Don't hide my face. Don't hide my address. I'm a real person. I'm already confident in public speaking. I do streams, demonstration streams, live streams, podcasts, do all this already, which should give me a bit more of a start than most. I'm sorry to say, the most. And the main thing is I'm not politically correct, so that helps. But yeah, so 22 people, guys. Just don't forget them. Let's not forget Safi. Which one's Safi on there? There she is. There's Safi. Just there. Little Safi Rose. Oh, beauty there. And, you know, we don't have to throw hate towards people, but we can blame our government. It's our government's fault, this. It's our government for letting them in. It's our government knowing that these were extreme people and they let them in. The Tory party, more so to blame than anyone else. We'd rescued the guy previously when he was training up from over there. The family just took the piss and went back over there and just sucking up our benefits, just the same as David Ames's killer's family, just the same as every other person who comes here now. No one respects British values, history, or culture or anything, just trashing it. And, you know, like, if I get arrested for arguing with someone over that, then I get arrested. You know what I mean? And I'm going to start telling people, listen, you're just here to trash our thingy, disrespect our values and customs, and we don't want you here. We don't want people here like that. That's what I'm going to start saying. Well, actually, I won't start saying that. I'll get told off part of a start because saying stuff like that. But I'm going to be a bit more blunter with people about it. But, you know, the deflection, oh, it's nothing to do with Islam. And then a week later or 2 days later, they had a big, everyone coming, giving the prayers, and I don't look back in anger. What the fucking, I hate that song now. I hate that song. I used to like it, but I hate that song when they used it to do with the Manchester Arena bombing. I hate it. I'll get out. It's just I'm just Lisa and Alison, I just can't get over it, mate. I really can't. And there was such well-known girls, Lisa and Alison, in Oldham. My sister knew them both. A lot of my friends, they were their best friends on the other side because they live on the other side of town. And but to be told, all the families to do the Manchester evening bombing. Police round at their house. Listen, don't say anything about Islam. Don't go down that route. Don't start calling for protest. That's what happened, guys. Honestly, that's what happened. And you know me, I don't make shit up, me. I don't make things up. That's what happened. And I got told off 2 absolutely 100% reliable sources. The same thing, different days. And that's what they tell you. Don't start going on about Islam. Nothing to do with Islam. It's nothing to do with Islam. Yeah, it is to do with Islam and extreme Islam blowing us up. You know what I mean? Honestly, so I think a campaign to get Disbury Mosque shut down might be a good one. So I'm going to mention it next Mer's question time. It's going to put my hand up. So Andy Burnham, why isn't Disbury Mosque been shut down? That's what I'm going to say to him. That's simple as a question. I'm not going to give him any evidence. I'm not going to give him any dates. I'm just going to say, why hasn't Disbury Mosque been shut down? And of course, Big John's the person who said that. No one else will. I don't see anyone else at the Mer's question time. A couple of people from Oldham have been, but I don't see any of these prominent independent candidates or candidates at the Mer's question time questioning him. You know what I mean? Or don't you want to go down that route because you think that it'll affect your political career? No. Big John does that thing. Big John does go to these meetings. Big John does question these people. That's why I should vote for me. I'm not one who, I'm not going to say nothing for the, I'm not being politically correct. I'm not going to say nothing because, I'm not going to, no, John will tell you. John will tell you. Right? If not, I'll show you. But no, that's why I should vote for me. And that's why I should vote for the National Housing Party and support us. Because we're not, we're fighting back and we're not going to bend. We're not going to bend. Even if me not being politically correct ruins my political career, I'm still going to do it. Still going to do it to prove my point. And I prove my point every day. Every day. I've got Labour councillors in Oldham squirming and going like that when they hear me when they hear my name, guys. When they hear my name, that's what they're like when they hear my name. Ruthless, John. Just the other week, and I'm not going to show you any evidence because the Labour candidate Anna Roberts were there, the chief executive from Oldham were there, 2 of the policemen of Hollingwood and Commander Bowen were there, and I fucking give them loads of shit in a public meeting and the housing people as well. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say everything I said, but the proof is them people were there. And also in the last candidate agent briefing, and up, postal vote fraud in Oldham. Oh, how do we know you said that? All the candidates were there. Lib Dem, Independent, Labour candidate. They all heard me. They hate me, the Labour Party. They hate me in Oldham. They're fucking like that when they hear my name. And the worst thing is, guys, if you've got a problem with someone, you want to go and talk to someone, and the colour of their skin makes you hesitate, then you've lost. And this is what the Labour Party are like, because there's white people in it, but they don't know how to react to me because they've got brown skin. There's not many of them who will say anything. They won't say anything. You know what I mean? Because if anyone starts going on, if someone said to me, but you're black, I'd be calling them a racist. I've been wanting them charged and convicted. It'd be an hate crime, that, to me. But no, yeah, so we have to stand up. And obviously, I get it. Some people can't stand up. Some people are more vulnerable than others. I'm not vulnerable, guys. There's no vulnerability in me. Even though I look after my mum, there's no vulnerability. I'm saving the council thousands of fucking pounds looking after my mum. And, you know, I'm on pittance of money, so I'm saving the council money. So they should be jumping and working more for me if I'm saving them money. And we're in Oldham, where social care is a big thing. We're in Oldham, where there's more people who are disabled than anywhere else in the country. We're in Oldham, where there's more care workers working than anywhere else in the country. But, you know, I'm saving my council thousands of pounds. I don't know exactly how much, but me living at home, looking after my mum, is saving that council time and money and the National Health Service. So, like that to everyone who says anything, because I'm not bothered. I'm saving the council money, right? I'm saving the council money. So, you know, honestly, that's me saving the council money. Didn't have to. I could put my mum into an home, but I'm not going to do that. But, you know, I just, what's going to happen now, guys? Are we going to get another 20 people blown up this year? This is a time of the year for attacks. And obviously, it's not just, I shouldn't be, on this time of the year, I should not just mention the Manchester Arena bombing. Obviously, should talk about Lee Rigby as well. I should talk about Lee Rigby and how brutal that was. And the two guys who were linked to that extremist who's been in jail and stuff like that. I mean, if I was there at the time and I was driving past in a car, I'm sorry, guys, I just run my car into these two guys. I wouldn't have gone over like that woman talking to him, and I just run my car in to run them over and kill them. That's what I would have done in the situation. And did you know that they him who went into Finsbury Park Mosque, Darren Osborne, got more time than Lee Rigby's killers. Why did he get more time? Because Lee Rigby's killers got less time because he was fighting against the government and the army, because the army's been in to blow Muslim places up. Honestly, guys, I don't make shit up. That's why they only got 34 years instead of longer, because the act of terrorism was against the army and the government. Honestly, I don't make stuff up, guys. You can research it yourself, but that's the God's honest truth. You know, and I'm not really one for capital punishment, but what they did was just ultra brutal, and it does go on the lines of capital punishment. If it were here, and if people were voting for it, and we got a majority vote for capital punishment for them to, I won't be saying anything. I won't be going against it. I don't want capital punishment, but that's the time. It's even more. This is a time when capital punishment, you know what I mean? They should have been done for treason, capital punishment. And in the old days, they wouldn't have lasted. They would have been chopped up and then dealt with, executed within a month, couple of months. But here, we put them in prison. We treat them like babies and all that lot. It's just a joke. But, of course, Lee was from Middleton. But there's been a lot of stuff behind Lee. Every time someone far right or branded like that says something about him, then they're all over him. I mean, you know, I'm not having a go at his family. I'm not having a go at his family directly, but you know what I mean? Just should show a bit more backbone. And then his mum, I've heard his mum saying she's worried that people are going to forget him. Yeah, they are going to forget him, because a lot of the people who support him have been branded so-called far right, and every time anything like that happens, it's all in the papers, and then I'm sorry, but the parents are told they're nothing to do with us. Fucking hell, honestly, that's why people are going to forget Lee Rigby. Unfortunately, nothing to do with me. I won't forget him, but we're going to forget him because of the way the media are and the way they portray people who support him. You know, it just infuriates me, guys. It infuriates me. And I've heard the family said, "Oh, we're nothing to do with far right." I'm fucking sick of it. We're sick of them words, actually, in our part. We're sick of that kind of stuff. We're sick of it. I'm sick of being branded. I get branded all the time, but no one's ever, nor Lefty, ever, except for, I'll give him the bit of fucking time of due, Jack Sparrow in London, whatever he's called, Slippy, Slimy, whatever. He's the only person who's like contacted me to talk to me, but no one else, no other Lefty, nobody from Oldham or anything, no other candidates, no independents or anything. None of them got bottle to come on a stream. None of them got the bottle to debate me or anything. I've got an email there. I can easily set up a debate, and we'll get someone to organise, be it master of the debate. No one, because you're all shitheads and you're all shit scared. I'm sorry for swearing, but it's like 6 years since the Manchester Arena bombing. Why shouldn't I be a bit passionate? You know what I mean? But no one's got the bottle. No one's got the bottle. No one's got the bottle. You're all fucking gimps. That's what you are. Anybody. And obviously, I'll never get an interview off like Ash Sarkar or fucking Bender Friend, whatever he's called. I'll never get them kind of things. But you're just a load of cunts. That's all you are. You know, the other person I'm going to give respect to right now, more than anybody else, George Galloway. He let me speak to him. In Batley, George Galloway. George Galloway invited me to sit down, have a coffee and speak with him. No other scumbag Lefty, nobody on the right, nobody will email me. Nobody in Oldham will email me or debate me or anything. Is that because I'm right? I must be. Twitter, the Lefties, they just fucking slag things off, but they won't debate me because I'm right and I'm factual and I believe everything I say. That's why. So you won't debate me. Just go all wimps. That's all you are. I mean, I'm from Oldham, I am an Oldhamer. Big mouth. Opinionated. Attitude. Right in your face. Don't always look after his P's and Q's. I shouldn't be swearing, but I don't. Why not swear? It's been 6 years, guys. 6 years since the Manchester Arena bombing. And Lee, it all comes at the same time. Obviously, Lee Rigby's murder as well, 2013. And it was almost to the day. You know what I mean? And nobody says nothing. Nobody wants to say anything. Nobody will come. Nobody will debate me. No Lefties will debate me. Nobody hardly ever questions. And when they do, just come up with bullshit things on Facebook. You know what I mean? The Lefties, Hope Not Hate, didn't even put our results up. I'm gutted about that. I'm absolutely gutted that Hope Not Hate did not show our results for. And I'm going to remember that next time I run. I'm going to remember that. And if I do really shit, I'm going to remember that I did really good this time. But they never put us a votes up. Never put fucking votes up. Oh, my word. Have mercy on us, guys. Have mercy. Honestly, Mr. Rick, no one challenges me. No one does it. They won't send me emails. They won't doubt the things I'm saying. They just say stupid things like, you're still a racist, or you're this, that, and the other. And I put up a post. I did a little video outside a mosque. I'm talking about Muslims threaten each other and no one says anything. But like when someone goes to the mosque and did a video against these people who threatened him, he got arrested by police. So I did a video outside. Guys, come on, saying about white people don't vote. You're all liberal. You're all woke. And these aren't the things that we're talking about. You know what I mean? But it just shows that we've got people in this country just don't give two damns about our culture and respecting us. It's got to be said. I've got to do a speech in the council about this. And when I talk to people in Hollingwood and in Oldham, these are the things they say. These are the things they say. These are what the things they said to me. They don't just go on about fucking fly tipping. They don't say that. They say about discrimination against white people. They say that why does one section of community get all the money and they don't get nothing? They go on about housing, and this housing thing in Oldham, it's looking like it's not so black and white, right? I've got people telling me that they could get a better house, but they're not going to be the first on the list for it. Ukraine is a big thing with Ukraine, and foreign aid is a massive thing with the people in my constituency. And if you're running as an independent, how are you going to stop them? You're not going to stop foreign aid if you're an independent. You're not going to stop the Ukraine war as an independent. As a party, we can lobby. So if we've got 10 members of parliament and 200 councillors, we can get a team lobbying the government to change these things, to stop immigration. Other than that, as an independent, you're not got no chance of any of this. So just remember that when you're voting. If you're voting independent, you want to end immigration, it's never going to happen. That's why you should vote National Housing Party, because we, as a party, we can lobby and stuff. But as an independent, you've got no power like that. You can just look after your own area. But with our party, we're going to lobby to stop giving British passports away. And everyone wants that. No one wants any money sending abroad. No one wants to be part of the Ukraine war. These are all the things I get told every time I go down there. That's what people say. It's not just fly tipping isn't the biggest thing. Environmental health, rats isn't the biggest thing. The biggest thing with the people down there is all the stinking money going abroad. Why aren't we digging coal up to fuel our power stations? And immigration, them are the biggest things in my constituency. So they're always going to be on my leaflet. Always going to be on my leaflet. Good evening, Peter. Yes, James Bond. Yes, they are, Mark. You are so right there. But thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to go now. I've done my hour, done my rant. But never forget them 22 beauties there, up there. Just normal people. Some are from Greater Manchester, Northwest, Northeast, Yorkshire, Liverpool, a wide range of people. But they lost their lives for the failure of our government in giving people access to the UK who are designated extremists. Honestly, designated extremists, these people were. And we let them in thinking nothing's going to happen. We're doing that all the time. And we know there's been other terrorists who've been let in through the same way. So don't ever doubt it. Don't blame the police. Don't blame the emergency services. Don't blame anybody like that. We blame the Conservative government and the government policies. We blame the Conservative government and everybody in the Houses of Parliament, Diane Abbott, anyone who were there in the Houses of Parliament, that's who we should be blaming. I'll name them all out once. I'll get the list of who were there and I'll name them all out, and I'll do a common law thing. Murder. What's the punishment? Hanging by the gallows. Hanging. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Big John here, National Housing Party representative in Oldham. I'm back on it. I'm going to have a bit of a break, but I've been printing out. I'll just show you. I wasn't so keen on the postal voting forms at first, but with this ID thing, there's several people who didn't have ID, and one of my mates, Andy, he don't like his photograph being took, and he's socially awkward. So I got him to fill one of these in, handed it in, and he got his postal vote. So I've got about 50 sheets there, but I want hundreds. I want a couple of more hundred, but I'm going to need some HP 304 ink. That's what I'll need, HP 304 ink. And I'll probably, if If he had 200 sheets and I got them all filled in, I reckon there's 150 minimum votes for me in that 200. And with these as well, I've got more time to contact the people. I've got phone numbers for several people. And when I know that the postal votes normally go out just roughly 2 weeks before the election. So one of the things I have done before, and I did with Daniel Simpson in Barnsley, is before we went round to all the postal voters on the list. That's what we did. We went round to all his postal voters to make sure they got a leaflet and they was going to vote for him. So yeah, I've got all them, but I want more. And that is going to get me votes. That's going to get me votes. It's going to get me confirmed votes. It's going to get me confirmed votes. But yeah, just good evening, Aunt Sally. Yeah, I mean, Danny has his faults and that, but I'll tell you what, he's run 3 elections and he knows what he's talking about. I'll tell you that right now. And again, I did 3 or 4 days in Barnsley election with him, learning the system for me to set up for Oldham. And I thank Danny for that. I thank you. A really good time. I was up there leafleting and talking to people in the street. And when I were at the count, I did a live outside, and within 5 minutes, a woman come round with 2 kids, jumped out of a car, gave me an hug and said, "Oh, we always watch your videos, John. The family love it." That's what she did after 5 minutes of doing a live, and she lived in Barnsley. Unbelievable, honestly. But yeah, so yeah, please donate to our party. At the moment, any donations we get are going to go towards a membership card printer. First, and then hopefully we will get some more, another 20,000 recruitment leaflets, because we've already put 20,000 out, give or take 1,000 or something. So we want another 20,000 recruitment leaflets, and then I've got an election next year, and then I've got a break the year after, and then I've got an election the year after that. And on my break, I want to go somewhere else helping someone who's running in a different election. So that'll be what I'll be planning to do in the year break. But all the rest of the time, I'm just going to be knocking, getting postal vote forms filled in. But thank you very much, everyone. Absolutely, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And again,